And welcome into Closest to the Win Travelers Championship. Just coming off of a U.S. Open hangover, and in a U.S. Open where the model, of course, picked Jonathan Rahm number one, and it's nice to see he finished up. It's also kind of sometimes you feel kind of he's a 10-1, he's the shortest guy in the field. Do we really want to play him? But you know what? I'm sorry, but winning money is winning money. If he's the guy that we have number one and he's the guy that we all picked as a consensus pick, we're taking it. And so I'm happy with the call. I'm happy with the play. I'm happy cashing, and definitely had a rebound week. How about you guys? How'd you do, Pro?
I did well actually last week. We made a few bucks, which is always a good thing, and it was a great tournament. And John Rahm was probably the hottest player going into it, outside of what happened at Memorial. So good to see him get it done, and a pretty epic finish to the way he went about doing it. So it was a good week. It was fun. I mean, Bryson just completely threw up all over himself.
Oh my God, that back nine was sick.
I had an outright on Bryson, and on 10T, he was tied for the lead. And then, yeah, it was bad. So, but yeah, it was a fun week. It was an entertaining week. People liked it or hated Torrey, but it was what it was. And I think it was definitely a deserving champion.
Absolutely, I agree. How about you, Nick? What are your thoughts?
Summed it up pretty well there, Pro. I mean, I can't recall seeing a pretty amazing leaderboard like that on a Sunday afternoon going into the back nine. People were up and down. I mean, you thought guys were in, they were out. You thought guys were out, they're back in. I mean, just crazy stuff happened left and right, and probably the right guy won in the end. So I have no complaints whatsoever. And storylines to talk about, and people loved it, hated it. I mean, ideally it's probably the perfect tourney, because there's just chatter about it left and right, and Rahm got his, and so
and you got your big boys at the top come Sunday afternoon. Like, that's what I mean, they were all there for the most part. I mean, so that's what you want as a golf fan, and that's what you kind of expect out of a U.S. Open, and that's what we got. We kind of knew when we were doing these outright bets that this thing's probably going to be within 30-1 at the most, and it kind of was the cream of the crop there come Sunday afternoon.
Yep, I was hoping for that little more call to finish up strong, but didn't quite happen. But yeah, the big Ryan right here, two-time auto winner. When he says auto, he's a two-time autograph winner now. He hit with Berger, and then he hit last week with Rahm, and so you know what? He's in on this little scam on YouTube, and so we'll be getting that thing. Hey, I got to ask Rahm to sign it for me first, buddy. So it may be a little while. I'm just kidding. We'll get it to you, man. I gotta work on that though. But you know what? The U.S. Open is history. Great show, and it's time for the Travelers. And you know what? The first thing I noticed when I looked at the field, guys, this is a good field.
It is.
It's a really good field, and so I don't know if a lot of it is due to the fact that it's the Travelers, and a lot of these guys have charity tie-ins with this tournament, and some of the sponsors that are affiliated with the Travelers. But anyway, Guru, what are your thoughts on the field, and what are your thoughts on the course? And let's talk about some of those key stats for the model this week.
So, with the Open coming in 3 weeks, I mean, there's just really not a whole lot of fantastic places to play between now and then. So I think
great point.
I think it's the last really good opportunity to come score and just, hopefully fine tune your game. I mean, the couple of folks I think that aren't here this week will probably play in Detroit next week, but you're not going to see a whole lot of people go to the John Deere, and usually the Barbasol gets like the B-listers, the alternate, type, players, and with all the COVID and travel and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure people will go over early. So yeah, this is the last big hurrah. It's a better than I expected field, even with a couple of people dropping off. It would have been even better. And even the alternate list and stuff, are really not too bad, but it's a good course. I like the TPC courses. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a Pete Dye fan. So anytime you get some Pete Dye action working, it gets my juices going. And, one fact I'll spit from the top is that 14 of the last 16 winners all shot 64 or better. So name of the game is to go low. You got to go low to win. So, I think you could eliminate a good chunk of the field right there, because there's guys that are going to be in pretty good form that are going to shoot good scores, but it won't be enough to make the cut, and they won't be able to hang. I don't know who it'll be. I mean, you can probably narrow it down, but yeah. So, I mean, the proof's in the pudding right there. So, and DJ shot 61 last year. I mean, but Mackenzie Hughes shot 60 and he still couldn't get it done. So, go low and just keep going low. The birdies are the name of the game, definitely. So that's probably the big central place I would focus.
All right. And so I'm assuming you did. And looking at the model, the top 12 I got here, some heavy hitters, but a few surprise names in there. And so, yeah.
Guys that seem to go low, guys with a little bit of course history, guys with a little bit of form. Yeah, I mean, kind of looking at them looking at them as a group, you kind of question it, but you start looking at them one by one and trying to find out, why they make some sense. And most of them, made pretty good sense. You could probably change the order a little bit, but I'm pretty okay with the top 12.
I am too. As a matter of fact, so we'll get to my outrights a little later at the end of the show. I've got some surprises. My pick to win this thing is a 66-1.
Nice, nice.
So
looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and he's going to win it. He's going to win, and so I'm feeling really good about that.
All right, man.
That means that a miscut coming up. Speaking of the
Thursday I hate golf text is incoming. You might as well just put in the drafts now and just
Thursday morning, 10 a.m. I hate golf. All right, let's get to it, man. Let's get to the DraftKings plays and fades. We're going to start 10K, and we're going straight to Pro for his 10K plays. By the way, I apologize. Justin will not be with us tonight. Hopefully, he'll be able to make it next week, but we do have a few of his plays and a few of his shockers, and so we'll get to those as well.
Yeah. Although this course is very short, 6,800 and some change at a par 70, I'm still going to roll with Bryson. I saw too many good things to just jump off the wagon last week. The dude fought his way back. I don't really need to talk much on Bryson. We know his game is somebody that you can pick every week. I'm also going to go with Patrick Reed. He's at the 10,000 range in that category. Also, like things I saw from him last week, he's got 5 top 20s in his last 7 starts. That includes 3 majors. His game's been fine. He hasn't won, but I do like Patrick Reed, and I also like the other Patrick Cantlay. Again, the form seems to be there now. I mean, he won at Memorial. He was decent last week. His game is had a tendency to where things have gone well, he rides a hot streak, and so I expect him to continue to do that this week. I'm going to fade DJ. Why? I don't know. I mean, he was okay last week. He's missed 2 of his last 6 starts, though, outside of last week, of course. I mean, in this range, it's hard. He's also, at 11,400, which is considerably higher, $300 than Bryson. So I will go ahead and fade DJ.
I'm going to go ahead and go. I like those plays. As a matter of fact, we match up on a couple of them, but we go off on the other one. We're going to let Nick back clean up this week, and so the guru. And so I'm going to go ahead and start off with Patrick Cantlay as well. First and foremost, he's number 1 in the model, and so and of course Guru looks at under every single rock for his model. And so Patrick Cantlay was a no-brainer for me. And then of course, if you look at the numbers, I mean, gosh, he should be. I mean, he's coming in pretty good. I like Cantlay a lot. And I'm going with Brooks Koepka. I know everybody says he gets up for the big tournaments, and he does. But I think he's got something there. He's 6th in this field in approach. He's 6th in this field in birdie or better. I believe right before we started talking about this, Guru and you guys were both talking about who's going to go low, who's going to be able to hit a lot of birdies. He's also top 20 and 19th in proximity between 100 and 125. I think the pitch and wedges and the putter, as well as approach are going to be factors in this thing. So I like Brooks Koepka. My third is also Patrick Reed. I really like Patrick Reed a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm betting Patrick Reed this week at 20-1. And he's 4th in this field in putting, and he's right there in birdie or better approach, and so you pat him all over Patrick Reed. My fade is going to be Bryson, and I guys, Bryson fourth in birdie or better, but in proximity with those wedges, he's almost dead last. He's 151st in this field in the last 36 rounds in 75 to 100 yards with that wedge. And I think that's where he needs to be a little bit stronger. And it killed him this week. And so I'm fading Bryson. Probably a burn on my end. I'm probably going to regret that one. What do you think about that, Guru? And go ahead.
Well, I'll say one of the stats that I ended up using this week, it's a stat that I don't normally use, but it baked in the model a little bit, and I'll reference it on a handful of golfers in terms of plays and fades, but it's fairway proximity. So basically you take your shot from the fairway and basically how close you can get it to the hole. You either land it on the green or you get it within 30 yards at the edge of the green. Just because, I think proximity is a big stat. It's probably should be heavier weighted this week than some of the other weeks, and look at it from all different kinds of ways. And there's a lot of guys that show up that may not show up at other tourneys that makes some sense here. I think it's a week that you could play a guy that may not be in form, but if the stats make sense, it really, you just got to find somebody that just where everything clicks and just seems to like the course and whatnot. So fairway prox is going to be a good number for me, but I'll dive into that as we evolve. I just want to throw that out there first. But I'm going to start with Cantlay because he's number one in the model. There's a pretty good sized gap between him and the number two in the model, which was Bryson. Normally the gaps are closer. So when there's a larger gap there, a great example was last week. There was a pretty good sized gap between, Rahm and, Xander. I'm not saying necessarily lightning will strike twice, but, Cantlay's got a 60 on the course from, some years back. And, the big thing that stands out to me, he's got 3 top 15s in his last, 3 trips here. I won't, a lot of the stuff's kind of baked in, and, he likes the die courses. The strokes gained has been pretty solid, and the mark that I use for a lot of the guys is since the players, but 7th off the tee, 9th in approach, and 23rd around the green. Just need him to make a couple of putts, but he's a guy that can seem to light it up, pretty fast and pretty quick. I'm actually going to play DJ. And it's more of a gut and a hunch than anything, because I think he probably could have won the Palmetto if not for that triple bogey at the end. I'm not saying he would have won the Open, but I think he triple bogeyed the 10th and lost some momentum there. You get those 3 strokes back. I think it's a different kind of ball game on Sunday. So if he can just eliminate that one giant thing, I'd like to think he'd be right there. And this is the stretch of golf last summer when everything just started to click and he went into that extra gear, shot the 61, won, and then kept on going. So here's hoping maybe this is just his time of year. I'm going to take a flyer on it. Since the players, he's 6th off the tee and 14 with the putter. If he can keep doing that, I think he should be in pretty good shape. His fairway proximity, he's 65th year to date, but there's a whole lot of guys that aren't actually playing. So compared to the field, that's going to be substantially higher, but 65 is a pretty good mark. Then the third guy I'm going to use, I'm actually going to play Bryson. His course history here has actually been, better. The last 5 years, it's 47, 26, 9, 8, and 6. His fairway prox is 56th, and then his strokes gained since the players, he's 2nd off the tee, 35th in approach, and 26th with a putter. I have some concerns too. I'm not really convinced everybody up top is going to show up. But if there's somebody up top that I feel comfortable saying that's going to score and has the ability to do well and it's documented it so far this season, it's probably him. So then really it's a crapshoot for me between a fade of Brooks and Patrick Reed. I really want to play Reed, or really want to play him. I think there's some leverage there. I think ownership leverage is good. I think he'll be, under owned. I think his stats make sense. I think he's on the cusp and on the verge, but I'm going to fade him instead.
Of course, I knew it was coming.
His fairway prox
That's
is
awesome.
he's 200. He's 201st in the field. So since the players, he's 55th off the tee and 28th in approach. The other 4 guys over 10K, either off the tee or approach, some aspect of their ball striking is actually top 10 in the field. So he's kind of the low hanging fruit, so to speak, up top. And the fairway prox and the strokes gained were probably the 2 reasons I decided not to. I think he could click in a heartbeat. If anybody can scramble around here and make a ton of putts and get hot really fast and shoot some disgustingly low number, it's him. I don't feel great about it, but I hate taking all the heavy hitters at the top, but he made them. I like the negative case there for him better than trying to force a negative case with the other guys. So I'm going to play Bryson. I'm going to play DJ and I'm going to play Cantley.
I get that, and one of the things I meant to bring up was the 3 guys I played were the 3 lowest priced guys in that range, and the 1 guy I faded was the most expensive guy in that range, and that was part of my rationale as well.
Makes sense.
So anyway, all right. So we do have a consensus with Patrick Cantley. The model loves him, and then all 4 of us, by the way, Justin also likes Cantley a lot, and Justin is also fading my boy Koepka. So, but he's also went on DJ and Reed. So all of us like Reed. You like Reed, but you had to fade somebody, and so you flipped a coin and you made your reasons why. So I get it. All right, that being said, let's jump to 9K, guys. I'll kick off 9K. He's in our top 12, and he's 9K, and I really love this guy this week, and that's Streelman. 9,400 is a lower range of the 9K range. And Streelman is actually in my model. He's actually 9th also. What is he in your model?
10.
He's 9th. He's 10th. Yeah. So he's right there. So in my model, this is the weirdest model I've done ever. It's heavy approach, heavy putting, birdie or better. It's proximities with the wedges, and that's it. That's really all I'm doing, and a tee to green. And so, but Streelman comes in there. He's 5th in that 75 to 100 with the wedge in his hand. He's 20th in birdie or better. He's 19th in approach, and he's 23rd with a 100 and 125 wedge. And so I really like him, and so we'll see how he does. But at that price range, the lower 9s, I'll take him. I'm also in on Abe Answer, and I know he's going to be popular this week. It looks like a lot of people are touting Answer. As a matter of fact, your ownership, what is? Don't you have an ownership
20?
projection on?
Yeah, right at 20. I think he might be higher, but I mean, he ranks out greens and reg, birdies are better. I mean, the form's there. I mean, he checks a hell of a lot of boxes, and he could go low real quick too. So it makes sense.
Yep. And then my third guy is, you know who it is? It's Scotty Scheffler. I think he really showed a lot last week, and I just think this course is fine. He's 3rd in his field in birdie or better, 21st in approach. He does make me a little nervous in the last 36 rounds in this field. He's not great with that 100 to 125 wedge. He's like 135th. Hopefully he doesn't have to use it as much. He's a little longer. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. But I'm in on Scheffler, and then my fade is in. You guys are going to rip on me on this one. My fade is Tony Finau.
I thought about it.
He's 85th with the 75 to 100 wedge. He's 111th with the 100 to 125. He's 87th in putting right now in this field of the last 36 rounds. He's not giving me a lot of confidence for a guy in the 9,000s right now. And everybody I do love the guy, but I have to fade somebody in that range, and it's gonna be Tony. And so that's who I'm fading, and it may come back to bite me, but I'm not here to give you what the most popular players, and so I'm giving you what I see. So that being said, Pro, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna just piggyback off Kevin Streelman. The guy has 4 straight top 20s. He tied for 15th last week at a golf course that some could say that wasn't necessarily a fantastic fit for him. So I will go with him. I will also piggyback off Scotty Scheffler. I was impressed with the way he hung around last week.
Yeah.
And again, he has some parts of his game that can certainly use improvement. However, we talk about a guy that can fill it up and make birdies. He is one of those. And I'm also just going to keep riding the Paul Casey train, boys. Why not? Paul Casey's
Sunday.
What's that?
7th, I think.
Yep, tied for 7th. And listen, he's had a really good year. This is the kind of golf course to me that kind of fits him. It's kind of a placement golf course. He's a fantastic ball striker. I'm also going to fade Tony Finau. I'm with you, man. And I love Tony Finau. I threw a last-minute outright on him last week, and it just bit me in the ass. It's just form. It's just been a run of mediocre golf ever since It was a run of fantastic golf, if you guys remember, where he was in the top 5 every week. It just hasn't been that way. I know he had a good showing at Kiowa in the top 10, but outside of that, I'm going to fade him in this range. I hope he wins and I look like an ass because I love Tony, but
Yeah, I feel the same way.
yeah, I just don't think I don't think it's necessarily the golf course for him, and I don't think his form is necessarily there right now, and that's why I'm going to fade him.
Cool. And Guru?
So I'll call the 9K the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let me start with the good. So I guess that makes us 3 for 3 because I too am going to play Scotty Scheffler.
Nice.
So since the players, he's 11th off the tee, 42nd approach, 48th around the green, and 49th with a putter. So it's pretty well rounded. He's 12th as far as the die mock-up I did with the model, top 10% in terms of average DraftKings points in the field, so he could score. He's got 9 top 20s and 16 starts. The form's been there, and he played the course last year. And I think he's just in a better spot now. So, yeah, I like him more than I thought I would once I started kind of comparing the 9Ks against each other. I've been a Paul Casey guy for a while, so like Pro, I'm going to keep on trucking with that one.
Why not?
I mean,
man?
He's third in the model. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 4 top 10s and 6 trips here. So, I mean, he likes the course. I mean, if there's a Paul Casey course, it's this in Valspar. So hopefully he can avoid that one just ass suck round that's prevented him from probably having multiple wins this year. Because I mean, that'll kill him here. But if he can just keep firing and keep doing what he's doing, I think he'll show up well. I mean, the strokes gains, since the players are all, pretty solid. He just needs to make a couple putts. I mean, he's third ranks out against the comps I used, and he's actually 13th with the die component. I thought really, really long and hard, and believe it or not, I crossed off a couple of guys for my third one, but sorry to burst your bubble, but I'm going to play Tony Finau.
All right, listen, man. I love Tony Finau.
I know, but
things for Tony Finau.
He started as a fade, and he ended up back in my thing because Reed would have been a play, Finau would have been a play, and in the end, I've just completely screwed the matchup. That's my whole thing.
Happened at the end, dude. That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I think I got too cute with this, but we'll find out. So, approach since the players, he's 32nd in the field. I mean, 9th, he's around the green. I just need him to make a couple of putts. I mean, he's long, he could score. But what I liked, he's 58th year to date in fairway proximity. So the approach game is going to keep him, pretty close. And, even if he can't putt, I'd like to think his short game will get him, where he needs to be. I mean, he's been here 5 times and he's got, of course, 19 and 20 missed the cut, but 16, 17, and 18, 25, 25, and 17. So I think he could do it. And I know most of his form is early season, but still looking at it, the big picture, he's still got 8 top 20s and 15 starts. So as a whole, I liked it. I'll take a shot at it. Tried to get a little cute with the fade. My first thought was actually really going to fade Matt Wolff just because I think the 9,300 is just too much. I think it's an overreaction to last week and where he did. But then I started looking up close. He doesn't have some of the rounds, but what he does have, shows up pretty well. And on the chance that, it's one of those, okay, maybe he's there. Maybe he played a lot of golf when he was off. So I bailed on that one. I'm just not going to, I probably won't play him, but I got scared. So then I ended up deciding to fade Joaquin Niemann. I know some people are on him, but I'm going to go the other way. So of the 14 starts he's made in 2021, 9 of them have been top 25 or worse. So for a 9,000 guy, that's a big swing. I mean, he's either going to show up well or you're going to regret paying the $9,000 for him. So I'm going to take a chance that, especially with his, I know around the green's not really a huge component here, but really since the players, he's 145th in the field. So, I mean, he's down there. So when he misses, he's going to miss and probably have a little bit of trouble. And that's one thing this course is that, the fairways get wider, you get closer to the green, but when you miss, that 3.5-inch rough is going to kill you. And if he doesn't miss, then he's probably going to kill me and be another one of those fades that I regret. But I'm going to hope he continues, what he's been doing and makes me look smart for now. So Niemann's the fade. I'm going to play Finau. I'm going to play Scotty Scheffler, and I'm going to play Paul Casey.
Well, just real quickly, Justin, he also played Finau, and he did play Wolff. And now
Wolff
his
fade, he was too damn pricey for me, man.
I think so too. When you go from not even being mentally strong enough to play to, and now don't get me wrong, he had a good tournament. He kind of fell apart a little bit on Sunday, but
he doesn't have the 1 last week.
He doesn't have the rounds, but since the players, I think he's only got 10 rounds or something. But he's first off the tee, first with the putter, and even his fairway proximity is top 12 or top 13 just
I
year
get
to
it.
date. I
I
mean,
get
there's stuff there that you like, but yeah, I can't go
But
9,300
he was
either.
playing like a high 6, low 7K player for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah, no, for
And
sure.
and so it's hard for me to take him instantly to a 9K player. And now his fade was Paul Casey. Ooh, what's he doing? What's he thinking, man? Third in the model? Justin, we're gonna have a little talk after this.
I go out on a limb, Justin. I respect it, man. Keep it rolling.
Tip the cap, yeah.
All right. Let's go pro. Let's go with 8K. Let's keep this thing rolling.
All right, so I'm going back to the Brian Harmon well. Did you guys see the 4-putt from like 6 feet last week? It was rough to watch. No, I mean, it was like literally
That
from like
hurt
6
my
feet.
heart. That hurt my
And he
heart.
still,
I know
he still
Ryan-
had a hell of a week. He really did. He still had a hell of a week. He tied for 19th. He's just been consistently good. And I feel like another guy this golf course sets up for the way he's playing right now and the way he's striking the golf ball. So I'll go with Brian Harmon. I'm also going to roll with Russell Henley again. I want some of that magic from last week. You know, Russell Henley has not had a very consistent season. I think he's missed 4 out of his last 8 cuts. However, he's a very streaky player. He was fantastic last week. I know it wasn't the finish he necessarily wanted. I'm riding the hot hand, and I'm also going with Chucky Hoffman.
Triple H for the 8s.
This dude's made 12 straight cuts, and had including 2 top 5s in that stretch. The guy, he's not going to win the golf tournament, but I'm super happy with him in the DFS perspective in the 8K range. I really am, and I'm just going to take the low-hanging fruit. I will fade Justin Rose. I had an outright on Justin Rose last week. Justin Rose played 2 of the most ass rounds of golf that I have witnessed on television.
He didn't look like he even cared.
No, and the poor guy got in a feature group. you know that's the problem. You get a feature group, and when we see you shoot 78, it's rough. But listen, it's tough because Justin Rhodes before that has had actually pretty impressive starts. So it's just hard for me to determine what Justin Rose is going to be showing up on a particular week. This week, I'm going to go ahead and fade him. I say it's a low hanging fruit, but again, his game coming up to the U.S. Open wasn't that bad as far as what he was doing in his most recent finishes. So it was kind of super surprising to me the way he played at the U.S. Open. But man, it's hard to look at what I saw last week and to say, hey, I can roll with this guy in literally 5 days' time.
I get it, man. I'm with you. But you'll find out that I did not fade him, and it's an instant fade. I wanted to throw a little shocker at you guys this week. But I will say Justin did fade him, and he went LOL. And Justin also played a guy that he normally fades, Harris English. Isn't he a big fader of English?
He had a couple of times, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, he played Harmon, English, and Bubba Watson, and he faded Justin Rose.
I like the Bubba.
So I'm sure we're going to talk about some of these guys. As a matter of fact, I'll jump right into it and let Guru close again. I'm going with my guy. You guys know I love this guy. I'm going with Cam Smith. I'm a big fan of Cam Smith, and I think this course suits well for him. As a matter of fact, he did say several times he faded Harris English, so he is definitely playing contrarian this week. Cam Smith, I really like him. He's 14th in my model. He's also 14th in birdie or better. He's top 20 in proximity, 75. He's top 35, 100 to 125. He's 24th in putting in this field, and so I just like him at the 8,700 range. I'm also going with your boy Hoffman. How can I not go with Hoffman? He's 4th in my model. He's right there in Guru's model at $8,600, top 17. I mean, gosh, he's number 1 in approach in this field in the last 36 rounds. He's number 2 in birdie or better. He's top 23 in 75 to 100. He's top 26 in 100 to 125. He's 46th in putting, and so, I'm all over Charlie Hoffman. And finally, I'm going back to him. He played decent last week. He didn't get flashy. He made the cut at the U.S. Open, and I kind of got scoffed at playing him. But I'm playing Adam Scott again. He's at the bottom of the range at 8,000. He's 18th in this field in putting. He's 17th in birdie or better. He's 5th in that 75 to 100 range and 23rd in the 100 to 150. So I really like him this week again. You know, he's not a like I said, a flashy player, but for the price, he's almost in the 7K range. I'll take him. And my fade for 8K is Bubba Watson. And a lot of people are on Bubba. Bubba's won this tournament before. And but I really don't like what I saw Bubba do at the end of last weekend. At the end, he totally fell apart. His putting in this field is 98th, and his birdie or better in this field in the last 36 rounds he's 111th. He's 89th in proximity from 100 and 125, and he's 60th in the 75 to 100 range. I'm out on Bubba. And I just can't see paying at the top end of the range almost $9,000 for him. So that's my favorite.
I like Bubba, but Nick, what do you think? I mean, Bubba's ownership's going to be this week because I would assume that his ownership will be high. I would think.
I have him at 10 now, but I wouldn't be stunned at all if he was 11, 12, 13. I think he'll trickle up there. People will chase the name, and then, the fact that he's got the 3 wins here, you start listening to enough podcasts and people will start touting him a little bit. It'll drift up there throughout, tomorrow and into Thursday too.
But his form is just not where it needs to be at the top end of that range. So that's why I'm fading him.
All right, so I'm going to combine, I think, a little bit of everybody. So again, we'll call it good, bad, and ugly. So I'm going to start with Harman, 9th in the model. I mean, you can't ignore the 3 top 10s in the last 6 trips here as far as course history goes. His form is, you look at it up close, he's jumped like 50 points in the world golf ranking over the course of the year. I mean, he's got 8 top 20s in the 13 starts year to date, which is pretty sickeningly good. I didn't realize how good it was until you actually stare at it and compare it to other people. There's a lot of golfers that have jumped up just with some good form this year. There's some good. It's really hard to jump up, but it's pretty easy to fade back, which is kind of interesting. You'd think he might even be higher, but here's hoping he can keep it going. I'm going to assume he can. Since the players, he's first in the field, total strokes gained just because of the form, but the off the tee is 20th. He's 3rd around the green, and he's 12th with the putter. The approach game worries me a little bit, but I think because he's played here enough, I think he can put it where he needs to put it and figure out how to get it done and score. He's a guy that can light it up, or at least, consistently, shoot enough to where he realizes if he's got to shoot 62 on Sunday to win, I guess that's what he'll do. Or, he'll get in the top 10 like the model's got him, and we'll still be glad we used him. I'm going to keep going with pro at the moment. I actually had Russell Henley next too. There's some guys that I just can't get away from, and after last week, I guess he crawled back.
Quit you, Russell.
No, I can't. And I tell you, the thing that drove me back is when I looked at the fairway proximity for him. He's 16th year to date, and that's over all of golf. And then you look in the field, so his approach game, approach game's been pretty solid. And since the players, so he's 13th in the field. So that was a big driver for me. In the field, he's top 20% in terms of the DraftKings points. So obviously, when things are working well, he scores pretty good. He's got 4 trips here. He's got an 11th, a 6th, and a 32nd to go along with a miscut. But I think he can, if he's finding the form and we're catching him a week early, so to speak, or I guess last week would have been a week early. I think the run will continue for a couple more weeks, and even with all the times we've touted him heavily and he let us down, he's still got 6 top 30s over the course of the starts this year. It's not where we pegged him, but still well enough to be considered in pretty good form.
Dude's a birdie maker too. Dude is a birdie maker.
I'll take him on a par 70 course, no problem.
Yes, sir.
And then being back on our Pete Dye course, I'm gonna play Siwoo one more time.
Oh my.
Yeah. So he's 10th in the model as far as the Dye ranking goes. Course history, he's got 3 top 30s in the 4 trips here. Even with some of those just wacky off the wall starts, he's played a bunch. And I guess some of the internationals really like to play some golf, but he's got 8 top 40s and 17 starts. So when he's on, he's on, but when he's off, he's off. But, he seems to show up at the Dye courses. So I'm going to assume he's going to show up here, or at least cross my fingers, especially for 8,500. But since the players, off the tee, he's 25th in the field, approach is 17th in the field, and around the green, he's 5th. Yeah. I just need him to make a couple of putts. I went back and forth a little on the 8K, but I'm with you, boss man. I'm going to fade Bubba. That just seemed too good not to fade. The fairway proximity year to date was 164th. That's just down there a bit. You could overcome that if the rest of your game is clicking, but since the players, he was 134th in approach as far as, strokes gained, and then he's 108th around the green, and we already know he really can't putt. Then you look at his form over the course of the year, he's got of 12 starts, he's got 8 top 25s or worse. So, he's only really done reasonably well in a couple, and the rest of the time he's just kind of And as you alluded to, at 8,900, no thanks. So fade Bubba, play Henley, play Siwoo, and play whoever the hell Harmon. Thank you. Yeah, there you go.
Cool. All right, let's jump into 7K, and I'm going to start 7K, then go to pro. I am going to start with the guy that I'm picking to win this tournament, and that's Max Homa. And I really like Max this week, and my model for all the things that I feel are important. He's number one. He's number one in my model. He's $7,800. He's 21st in this field in putting. He's 12th in approach. He's top 10 in birdie or better. He's 21st in 75 to 100, and he's 8th in 100 to 125. That he's great with a wedge. He's great with a putter. He's great at making birdies, and he's really good on approach. And so he does all the things I really like, among a few other things. And at $7,800, 66 to 1, I really like Max Homa. So he is definitely a 7K play for me. I also like Sam Burns just because he's in. Oh my God, he's top 12 in Guru's model. He's third in my model. He's first in birdie or better in this field. Last 36 rounds. He's 32 in 1 to 125. He's top 11 in approach and 14th in putting. And so this is one of those tournaments this is one of those courses that Sam Burns can light up. And I think he will. And so at $7,700, Justin said it also. 7K. I love the 7K range this week. And so, as a matter of fact, it would not shock me if the winner is the 7K range. And then my third guy is Tringali. Tringali is he's right there. He's top 20 in the Guru's model. He's fifth in mine. He doesn't do anything bad for this course. His worst statistic in this course, based on my small model this week, was approach, and that's top 30. Top 12, top 15, top 22, top 26 in all the other categories. It's $7,600. I got a 71, a 76, and a 78. No, a 77. But I do have a bonus 7K play. A bonus.
What you
Patton Desire. I know we may have been a couple weeks early on Patton. Remember we were all on him a couple weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Patton Desire in this field, he's 8th in birdie or better, 9th in putting, 13th in approach, 15th in proximity, 125 with the wedge. 7,100, he's at the bottom of the range. If I can get one extra 7K play in, that's the one. And then my big fade is Luke List. Luke List. By the way, I think Luke List is, don't get me wrong, let's see here. He's dead last in Guru's model. And he's really, he's 111th in my model. He's 125th in putting in his field, 107th in 70 and with the wedge, 100 from 75 to 100. He's 131st from 1 to 125. His very best category in this week, last 36 weeks, is 52nd in approach. And so I'm all about fading Luke List in the 7K range.
Is he last in your model?
I know you worked on him. I know you worked on your stuff early, so he was a late afternoon withdrawal from the tourney. That's why he's last. I updated it to count the withdrawal. So you get a bonus fade, I guess is what I'm saying. You get a bonus play and you get a bonus fade.
All right, so we'll just forget the fade. And I was so on that fade, man.
I know.
Oh.
Sorry to ruin it for you, but yeah, that's why he's last. I moved him.
That's what I get for having to work all day now. I'm just out of the
loop. That's what happens, man. That's what happens.
Anyway, still, regardless, if me not even knowing that, those stats are real, and so he was my fade no matter what. But anyway, all right, we're gonna go to you, Pro.
Yeah, I will take Keegan Bradley. I mean, outside of the Memorial, he made 9 straight cuts. I know he's the top of the range. I'd look for a big week out of him this week. Stuart Sink, I've rode the Stuart Sink bus for quite some time. His value continues to be, I think, super manageable when it comes to DK. In the low 7,000s, he's had a huge year. He had a good week last week, even. I think, I don't know, he might have finished in the top 50. I think tied for 54th. He made the cut. It was a big boy golf course. We know Stewartson can hit the ball. My sleeper play is going to be Ricky Fowler.
Oh, boy.
Ricky.
I actually feel good about it. I feel good about it. The last 2 times we've seen him, he's looked good. We're going to go with the perspective route here.
I had a feeling
Baby
you might have Ricky
announcement.
in there.
Ricky's going to be my third guy. My fade's going to be Jason Day. I mean, he's missed the cut in 3 of his last 4 starts. His season's kind of been just terrible. He seemed to be an easy fade for me. And to Justin's point, I mean, I love the 7K range as well. I could go on for days, but those are going to be my 3, which are.
Who was your first 7K?
Keegan.
Oh, you trust that putter with him?
I trust his form. I think outside of Memorial, in the 7K range, I love it.
I got you. I was actually looking at Day as a fade as well, but I guess I'll use him as well since I can't do his list.
Come on the Day fade list.
Yeah, and Sink, by the way, looking at way back, Sink won here in 2008 too. So shot a 64 and a 65. So if he's got that Sink juice working again, I'm sure he could whip it around.
What did he do in 78?
I don't know. Let's find out. All right, so 7K guys, I'm going to play Keegan Bradley too. I know he can go super low. I've seen him go super low. I mean, he's got 7 top 40s and 10 trips here, so I think he can work his way around the course pretty good. He's 35th year to date in fairway proximity, so I think that's a good mark for him. And if he can get a couple of putts working, I think he was one of the guys that really could put up a low number and hang around. And his numbers since the players have been pretty, top notch as far as strokes gained, just the putter, but the putter's been hanging around each week. I keep waiting for that, awful putting week, but it seems to just be kind of stabilizing right around the middle of the pack. So I'll take it. Then just because I've been chasing some heavier salaries, I tried to get cute, in the 7Ks like everybody else. I agree. The 7Ks are pretty strong. And so I think there's a lot of good plays in the 7K range. So I'm off the grid with my other 2. So buckle up. So I'm going to play Aaron Wise. He's 29th in the model at 7,400. So he's got 3 top 20s in his last 4 starts. He got a 46th here in 2020. He's kind of long off the tee. He's not the most accurate, but with those wider fairways at the back due to his length, I don't think that's going to really hurt him so much, considering, and he's got a pretty good all-around game. Since the players, he's 24th off the tee, 34th in approach, and 27th around the green. I just need the boy to make some putts, and here's hoping he can. Other stats, kind of the proximity and the scrambling and the par 4s and distance, all that stuff. He was 20th in the model. So I thought that was a pretty good, mark for him, for somebody that's a little further down the board that probably be slightly less owned compared to some of the competition in the 7K range. Then I'm going to go back to Sneds. He's been pretty consistent for the last couple of weeks for me on my board, and I don't really have a reason not to use him. I think he'll be slightly lower owned again. I think if everything's clicking, I think he can, score pretty well. Again, with him, it's just going to be, the off the tee game, but the approach has been pretty solid around the green, and everybody knows he can putt. But he's got 7 top 50s in 9 trips here, and the finishes are better than that. I just try to group them all into one, big category. But what I like is basically what he's done this year. So he's, shook off a little bit of rust at the beginning. So he only made 1 of his first 5 cuts, but he's basically made 7 of his last 8. And then at that 7, I think 3 are in the top 20. So I think he's trending the right way at a shorter course where the distance isn't going to prove as much for a guy that can get streaky hot and, shoot pretty low. He's due for a big one. And I don't know if it'll be here, but I guess we'll find out. Then my fade, to me, I thought this was, low-hanging fruit. So I'm going to fade Rafa Cabrera-Bello. He was 99th in the model, got in on a sponsor's exemption, which is fine. But, he played the U.S. Open pretty well, but I really thought he would have trekked over to, Germany and played the BMW, but I guess he had other thoughts. But since the players, he's 113th off the tee and 103rd approach. So the ball striking is just not there. His fairway proximity is 185th in the field. So that, kind of concerns me with his, ball striking. He did get 37th here last year, which is fine and dandy. But it's only one time, and I think he's in worse form now. Then you look at his form over the course of the year. 14 of his 16 starts have been top 30 or worse. and of those 14, he's missed the cut 6 times. So that just seems like an easy fade. So Ruff's my fade.
I actually thought about that. That's a good fade. By the way, Justin, he's playing day, Poulter and Grillo, and he is fading Phil. Said he's running out of gas.
Disrespectful. Take it back.
Not if he's on the sink juice, man. He could easily come up and knock a top 30 or something.
Sink's handing that shit out the range.
Yeah, we got Ryan with a question. How do you guys feel on Doc Redman? I have heard Doc's name a few times with some other touts out there. What are you guys thinking on him? Is this course designed for that guy? Is he?
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I'm not playing Doc, but a guy that can also make lots of birdies. And yeah, that's not a bad play. I mean, it's a value play as well. Like, I mean, when you throw it in that range, I'm happy playing Doc Redman this week. He's not in my lineup, but he'll probably be in one of the gajillion DFS lineups I throw out tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the 11th last year and run with it. I mean, it's you're not necessarily saying he's going to win. You just need somebody to come up and shoot a low round and then just not shoot yourself in the foot. And, he did it did well enough last year. He could easily do it again. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I just, had some other plays I felt were worthy of bringing up with Tringale, Kazire, Hole, and Burns. Anyway, let's go ahead and get some value plays in before we get to the optimal lineups. 6K. I didn't have much in 6K. I don't think we need it with so many value plays at 7. And so I do have, and I was kind of went through the model and then kind of tied it with my model. I got Hank Lebioda again. He's the number 1 6K player in Guru's model. And you know what? I went and looked at him pretty closely. He is top 5 and that with that wedge in his hand from 100 to 125. He's 31st with the 75 to 100 wedge. He's 104th in birdie or better, though. That's the only negative for him because he's top 33 in approach and he's top 50 in putting in this field the last 36 rounds. He's actually ranked inside my top 30. And so at $6,700, if I had to play a guy there, that's where I'm going. And if I'm not going with him, I'll probably, if I need a couple $100 more, I'll go to Roger Sloan. Roger Sloan is number 1 with his wedge in his hand, 100, 125. And in 27th, 25th in approach, and 27th with the 75 to 100 yard wedge. And so Sloan and Lebioda are my 2 6K guys. And if I was forced to do another one, it would be Andrew Putnam, just because I like Andrew Putnam. And I think he's a really good putter. And I think putting is going to be key this week. So that's what I got on 6K. What about you, Perot?
Yeah, I'll go start with KH Lee. KH Lee's a tough pick anytime because he's always going to be in the lower category or as far as money wise, but he's won this year. He has 2 top 10s. You just kind of don't know what KH Lee is going to show up. I do feel like this golf course fits him well. I'll take KH Lee. I'll also go with your boy Hank Lebioda. He's made 4 straight cuts. He's just a solid player to play in the 6K range, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you would hope that from the 6K range, you're just looking when we talk to DK wise, you're just trying to get 5 to 6 guys to make a cut, and that's one of the guys that I think will do it. And I'll also go with Patrick Rogers based off of the way he looked at the early part of last week. Also a guy that can go low, as we saw what happened Thursday there at Torrey Pines. So I'll go with Patrick Rogers, Hank Lebioda, and KH Lee.
I like that Rogers play. As a matter of fact, I went ahead and put Rogers in on a top 40 at plus 225. And so I like that one for Rogers. So good call. All right, buddy. Close us out on these 6Ks.
So never knowing who people have, I have a slightly longer list, but I really hope not to be down here too often. But I'll start with Lebioda. The one thing I'll say is year to date, since I've been, harping on the fairway proximity, he is tied for 30th year to date, which I thought was a pretty good number. Wow. And if he keeps doing what he's doing with the, backdoor course history the last 2 years, he can get a top 40, no problem. I like Denny McCarthy because I know he can score. His short game is what's going to carry him. I'm holding out hope that he can just, maintain kind of a baseline average, with the ball striking. But if he can get hot with the short game, he does. He's got the withdrawal last year. He's got the miscut in 18, but he did pop a top 50 here in 2017. So it's a stab. It's a shot in the dark for 6,500. I'll probably play a couple. I've been riding Troy Merritt for a couple of weeks, and so I'm going to continue to do that. He is 58th year to date with the fairway proximity. He's kind of in that same boat as McCarthy. Since the players, he's 32nd around the green and 17th with the putter. What I kind of like, though, is that he's played. He made the cut at the Open. He made the cut at the Memorial, and over the course of the year, he's actually made 10 of his 17 cuts, and 4 of the 10 cuts he made were top 20s. So he's showing up at some big boy tourneys, and if he keeps kind of the streaky run he's had lately, I'd like to think he could maybe sneak up there and catch a couple of people by surprise. So Lebiota, McCarthy, Merritt, and then the other two that I had marked down. Chase Seifert, he was 61st in the model. Let's see, he's got 7 top 50s and 13 starts in 2021. He hasn't played since 17 and 18, but he got a 43rd in 2017 and he got 9th in 2018. And then since the players, he's 30th in the field with his approach game. And then Tom Hoge is the other one, popular one that shows up on and off for a lot of people's boards, most weeks. Sure. But what's interesting for him, he is 25th year to date in the field in fairway proximity. And since the players, he's 24th with the stroke game with the approach. And, he made the cut at the Open and the PGA, which I thought was, kind of impressive. I didn't really know until I looked on paper. I mean, the rest of his year hasn't been really spectacular, but if you can show up at some big boy tourneys and make the cuts, and then again, maybe he just likes the harder courses, so we'll see. But caught my eye, so yeah, Hoagie is another play. So Hoagie, Seifert, McCarthy, Lebiota, and Troy Merritt.
Cool, I like that. I love all those value plays. That's going to help me build my my pool when I go in for DraftKings. I will go ahead and share a few of my outrights, and then we'll go to the optimal lineups. I did play Reed. I talked about him at 20-1. I'm in on Homa at 66. I'm in on Tringali at 80-1, and I'm in at Kazire at 100-1. You talked about Lebiota, top 40 market. I love him at 200. I love, like I said, Rogers at 225. And then Andy Lack, I listened to his show this morning, and he's really big, and he had a whole lot of statistics, and I can't riddle them all off, on CT Pan being a mortal lock for top 40. And at 160 plus 164. And so, you know what? I'll buy that. I like Andy. And so I'm gonna jump in on some of that too.
But yeah, I mean, he's on the right side of the cut for me, and I'm a fan. He's done us right. So yeah, I don't know that I would bet necessarily the mortgage on it, but yeah, I have no problem.
I've never bet the mortgage on a top 40 pick, but
doubling down a little bit. Yeah, I get it. I could see it.
But definitely, I do like those three for top 40s. Anyway, what do you guys got on top on some overalls, some outrights? And,
I'll rattle mine off real quick. I also have Reed at 20, Streelman at 28-1. I don't really love that. I might reassess that. That's just the value doesn't seem there. But anyway, that's what I did this morning. I got 28-1 on Streelman, Keegs at 50. Stuart Sink at 80, and I also, even though I didn't play him, I have Cameron Tringali at 80.
Nice.
You got time?
I got Cantlay, Answer, Keegs, Sam Burns, Russell Henley, and Aaron Wise.
Give me that to me one more time there, Nick.
So I got Cantlay at 16. I got Answer at 28. I got Keegs at 45. I got Burns at 50. I got Russell Henley at 55. And I got Aaron Wise at 85.
Nice.
A little bit of everything. We'll see how it goes.
Nice. And, of course, we'll be putting all of these on Twitter as soon as we is probably tonight or probably tomorrow, and along with the model and all that good stuff that we're going to put out on Twitter. Let's go ahead and quickly go to our optimal lineup, and we have 2 optimal lineups this week, and I'm kind of with Guru. I'm on the second one, but let's go ahead and go to this first one here.
So the way it spit everything out, it liked Patrick Cantlay. He's first in the model, 10,400. It liked Paul Casey third, 9,900, and then it popped four straight $7,000 guys, which kind
I
of
know it.
touts what we were saying, that we really like the 7K range. So it fired out Sam Burns at 12th at 7,700, Emiliano Grillo at 15th at the model, 7,300, and then it drifted towards Ian Poulter, 21st at 7,400, and Stuart Sink at 7,300, 22nd. And that uses everything. We'll see how that works. The last couple of years, there's been some serious money left on the table, but I feel pretty good about the model. So we'll see. It's a stronger field too than the last couple of years. So I'm not convinced it'll be fluky, and you'll have $8,000 or something ridiculous left on the table. But
Right.
it pops out at a good number of 597.8, which is higher than the last few. But I think that checks out with a place where you're going to want to score, and a lot of people should light up the leaderboard in the top 10.
Nick, do you ever think about that when you're setting like a lineup? Like, so say that there's $3,400 left the previous year, or is that like something you're conscious of when you're setting a lineup, or are you like, because are you trying to maximize the value you can play, or are you like, okay, hey, maybe we need to dig deeper and not worry about the overall value of the 50K, but try to get the players that fit the profile?
If it happens more than once, I take a long look at it. And the fact that the average for the 4 years has, consistently left money on the table, it's something I'll take a look at. If you take out the one outlier year, the rest of the money's been in that less than 2,000, 2,500 range. There was that one outlier year when the money was just way down there. So it really just depends. That's kind of a fluke. But, leaving a little money on the table is not a bad thing. But you really have to just believe in what if you really like, the 6 guys you do, and you spend the whole thing, or you spend it all behind $100, then that's what you do, because you're confident your guys are going to score. But if you have some doubts, you want to rotate it around, or you like all the 7K range. I don't think it's completely unheard of to play, $5,000-$7,000, dollar guys, and then load up with your favorite guy at the top, whether it's Bryson, DJ, Cantlay, whatever. And if you leave a couple grand on the table, you leave a couple grand at the table. So then the other lineup that it tossed around basically substituted out Paul Casey, and it put in Abe Answer, and then it added so Answer's 5th in the model, but that allowed you to go get Keegan Bradley. He's 13th at the model at 7,900, and then it allowed you to pop in Tringali, 19th at the model at 7,600. And the nice thing is, with the dropping down from Casey, it gives you a little more flexibility with those. You still have 4 $7,000 guys in the middle, so basically you can plug and play. And I like the idea of the plug and play. I'm a big Casey guy. If you've listened to any of these last couple of things, he's been on my radar. But I think I'm a little more comfortable, even with this being his course. I think I'm a little more comfortable probably trusting Answer and the flexibility with the 7K guys, because I'm not sure if we can accurately predict which ones. We know which ones we like, but if you have the chance to play a handful of lineups and just rotate around through all the ones you like, I think you're more likely to catch fire with the second optimal than the first. And it still uses all 50, but it's 596.5, so it's just a 1.5 under, and it's close enough where I think this is probably my preferred route, even though the first one slightly outscored it according to the model.
Yeah, and it goes to show everything that we talked about during the show. We really like the up top with Cantlay, and of course you got Casey and Answer there is both of our options. So you got 2 of the top in the top 5, and then you got the 7Ks, which we love. So both models has all the 7Ks, and you can rush them in and out. So of course, Reed or Max Homa's going to win the thing. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's funny because the model doesn't really like Max Homa that much.
Yeah, but he's still 7K. You can make it work, just
7K, baby.
Free up the salary and get it there.
He'll be in some of mine. But anyway, guys, we made it. It's less than an hour. Look for us tomorrow to our consensus plays, all of our special bets. Guru every week seems to be adding more and more twists to his madness when it comes to his plays, and I love it. And any final thoughts, guys? You ready for a good week?
Let's hope maybe somebody awesome breaks Jim Furyk's course record, and we have something fun to talk about next week.
Yeah.
Say that again. You hope what?
I think Furyk's got the course record. I think it's a 58. So let's hope somebody shoots 57, and we have something awesome to talk about next week, because John Deere Week's not my, or I'm sorry, Detroit Rocket Mortgage is not my favorite because I'm
Watch
sure
your mouth. Watch your mouth. Now, hey, listen, you're talking from a guy from Detroit. Now, I don't want to
That's
hear
right.
any of that slander.
I was going to say, you're going to go up there? You going up there?
No, I'm not going up there, but that doesn't mean that it deserves it.
Your
We got
heart
the
will be
number one
there.
overall pick and then the NBA. So here we go.
Yeah,
No,
it's a big
it'll
night for you.
it is a big night for me. I'm excited, but you're right. It's 3 weeks of interesting purgatory golf before we head to the Open Championship, and that's why it's kind of sketchy on who's playing where and why they're playing, because the John Deere, although you would think that people want to play the week before, it's not really any of a test that you would see across the pond.
Right. Well, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to this tournament. Hopefully, we're going to go back to back with an outright winner. And by the way, guys, please like, subscribe, comment. It means more to us than you even know, and we really appreciate it. Also, put your pick to win. Put your pick to win, and if they win in the comment section, Big Ryan can't get all the love. He can't win every time, and so pick who's going to win. And I tell you what, double bonus if you pick Homa and he wins. I'll do something even more special for you. So anyway, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. Look for everything on Twitter, all the updates, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Did you get all that? If not, make sure you head over to hammercast.com, subscribe, and join the Hammer Nation.